Hi, PerspectiveWeather.com meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Monday, November 9th. Another very warm day here in the Mid-Atlantic region. Some areas may reach record highs this afternoon, probably up into the mid-70s this afternoon in D.C., Philadelphia, New York City. Follows a very warm weekend, and the warm weather will continue for another couple of days. It looks like we'll get a soaking rain event in much of the eastern U.S. from Wednesday into Thursday, something we haven't seen in quite a while. A very slow-moving cold front will be able to produce that soaking rain event again from Wednesday into Thursday, and that will be followed by somewhat cooler air into the northeast, into the Mid-Atlantic region for the latter part of the week and going into the upcoming weekend. Meanwhile, we have Tropical Storm Eta. Maximum sustained winds at last observation 65 miles per hour, so not that far away from being declared a Category 1 hurricane. That is a possibility, is impacting the Florida Keys and much of the southern half of Florida with some rain bands. Here is the latest visible satellite imagery loop, and you certainly can see the spin associated, the circulation pattern associated with Tropical Storm Eta. Again, a very strong tropical storm, not far away from being classified as a Cat 1 hurricane, and that could happen over the next 6 to 12 hours or so. It emerged back out over the Caribbean Sea early in the weekend, then crossed Cuba, cut through the Florida Straits, and is now moving on a westerly track into the central part of the Gulf of Mexico, but then it'll start to make a turn and head probably as a tropical storm towards the northwestern part of Florida late this week, early in the weekend. It really will be something to monitor over the next several days. You can see the thick clouds here over the southern part of Florida. Again, there's some heavy rain associated with that. Here are the Keys right here on this visible satellite imagery loop, and again, it's slowly moving to the west. Could become a hurricane over the next several hours. And here's the latest storm track as depicted by the National Hurricane Center. Again, just to backtrack a little bit, Eta moved back over the Caribbean Sea over the weekend, then crossed Cuba, cut through the Florida Straits, went pretty much right over the southern Florida Keys, is now located right in this area right here, and actually moving to the west or southwest. Again, it may become a hurricane over the next 12 to 24 hours or so. If so, very likely only up to a Category 1. Then it turns to the north and cuts to the northeast, and it could impact just areas just north of Tampa, upstate on the west coast of Florida by the end of the work week, going into the early part of the weekend. Again, a likely tropical storm at this particular time. Its greatest strength may be reached right in this region right here over the next 1 to 2 days or so, and then again it turns back and likely makes another landfall, this time up the west coast of Florida by the end of the week or the early part of the upcoming weekend. Well, let's take a look at the nationwide radar map. This from WSI's and telecast.com. First of all, down across Florida, some heavy rain bands associated with Tropical Storm Eta, certainly impacting the Florida Keys, southern part of Florida. Again, maximum sustained winds at 65 miles per hour as it pulls away from Florida, but still quite an impact for the next several hours in that part of the Florida Peninsula. Meanwhile, notice upstream here, way over the to the north and west over the northern plains, we have a lot of blue showing up. This is a decent snowstorm right now for parts of the Dakotas headed into the northwestern part of Minnesota. Some accumulating snow up across Montana as well. And there's a strong cold frontal system right in this region right here with some heavy rain ahead of it. That slow-moving front inches its way through the eastern U.S. Wednesday into Thursday, and that slow movement will allow for quite a decent rainfall, something we haven't seen in the eastern U.S. for quite a while here. Again, Wednesday into Thursday, some decent rainfall, maybe some thunderstorms as well as that slow-moving cold front works its way to the eastern seaboard. Well, let's walk through the surface forecast maps from the operational run of the GFS at 6Z. All the green down here associated with Tropical Storm Eta. And this is the same tropical system that impacted Central America, Nicaragua and Honduras with tremendous rainfall last week. Then it re-emerged over the Western Caribbean, re-intensified, crossed Cuba into the Florida Straits, and now is pulling to the south and west away from the Florida Keys, but still having an impact. Meanwhile, high pressure, much warmer than normal conditions, continue in much of the mid-Atlantic region, the northeast U.S., the eastern Great Lakes. High temperatures again this afternoon in the urban corridor, up to the middle 70s, way above normal for this time of the year. But you go farther to the north and west, and there is some cold air around, and a strong cold frontal system will be slowly working its way towards the eastern seaboard over the next couple of days. Here we are now by midweek, Wednesday morning, still dealing with, still monitoring Eta. Again, it could reach Category 1 hurricane status. While it's moving southwest now, it looks like it'll turn to the north and then northeast, and could impact with a landfall late in the week, early this week, and up across the northwestern part of Florida, way up the west coast north of Tampa here. And here comes that slow-moving frontal system into the east, and it just kind of hangs around Wednesday and Thursday, and it very well could be a decent rain event for places like New York City, Philadelphia, Washington, D.C., and all surrounding suburbs, with, again, Eta hanging around. This is now the Thursday afternoon forecast map. And this high-pressure system moves in with some cooler air into the Mid-Atlantic region and the northeast U.S. at the end of the week. Not cold, but certainly cooler than some of the record-breaking warmth we've experienced over the weekend and even into the early part of this weekend. Here's the forecast map for Friday morning. Still dealing with Eta down here. There are some signs that it'll then turn to the north and west and impact up the coast, up the west coast of Florida by the early part of the weekend. A lot of chilly air across the northern plains and upper part of the Midwest by the time we get to the end of the work week. So a soaking rain event likely. First decent rain in a while for the Mid-Atlantic region from Wednesday into Thursday. Meanwhile, Tropical Storm Eta could become Category 1 hurricane in the near term as it slowly pulls to the south and west away from the Florida Keys this morning. Then it may turn back to the north and east and impact the west coast of Florida by the end of the week into the early part of the weekend. That's it for now for PerspectiveWeather.com. I'm meteorologist Paul Dorian.